liked the balance that they had in race.
Casey Kane, we congratulate him, his third career pole.
It's all three Hendrick Motorsports in the front.
There's a few movers and shakers out there.
To victory lane is Joey Logano.
Get the inside line on who's fast and who's last before setting your NASCAR fantasy race team this weekend. This is the Inside Line on MRN.com, presented by Hercules Tires. Now, here are your fantasy experts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
We welcome you to another edition of the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett getting you geared up for the GoBowling.com 400 on Saturday, which is tomorrow, at the Kansas Speedway.
You can read a calendar.
We thank you for making us a part of your Friday. I know you probably have some more things to do, fun things to do on your lunch hour, but why not watch our show, Let's put Talladega to bed quickly, because that was not a good week for the majority of the league, because it's pretty much a guessing game. But what were your thoughts leaving Talladega?
Well, first of all, we have a very busy day here on MRN.com, so thank you for joining us. I thought Talladega, Tyler, was probably the best weekend overall we've had start to finish all season. That included the rain on Friday, which washed out practice, but I don't think that really made a difference. If you looked at the race on Sunday afternoon, to me, that was the most competitive race we've had all season long. That was the most entertaining race we've had all season long. I think we should just line them up and not practice every week. So kudos to everybody involved. Talladega, the staff there was put on a great show. The weather Saturday and Sunday was awesome. We saw a first-time winner in Ricky Stenhouse Jr., so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't know if we should line them up every week without practice. I mean, restrictor plate racing, you don't need to practice, I don't think.
Okay.
Just throw them out there. I mean,
well,
I do think you need to tune your cars a little bit. I think that's the strategy of it for the weekend, and plus it helps out our fantasy teams when we can see who's good in practice, who's not good in practice.
Sure.
And that's
of course,
going
in a plate
to be...
race, does it really matter who's good in practice or not?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's seriously, all it is a guessing game, and I've never guessed right going to Talladega or Daytona or any of the ones. So anyways, yes, it wasn't a good week for me, but I'm hoping it gets better at Kansas this week, and we're going to tell you all about it coming up on the show today. Also, Jeff Striegle will join us. He's a co-anchor for the Motor Racing Network. You'll hear him lead the broadcast with Joe Moore tomorrow at the Kansas Speedway. So we're looking forward to having Jeff. Plus, we'll give you our 3 surprises, and later we'll pick our winners and play another round of Under the Rock, and I will probably lose today on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. But first, it's Friday, so it's almost Busch o'clock, the most refreshing time of the day, a trip for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going hunting on the weekend, nothing is better when it's time to relax than a crisp, cold Busch. Since 1955, Busch has delivered a beer that's as crisp and as cold as Mountain Stream, consistently providing a refreshing, smooth taste and an easy finish. It doesn't have to be happy hour to be Busch o'clock. Trust me, I know that from experience. The most refreshing time of the day. So grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for your cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri. Thank you so much for joining us today. We'll have more on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Today, Toyota's featured NASCAR fan is Carrie, Queen of Cakes.
So, Carrie, why do they call you Queen of Cakes?
Well, whenever Toyota wins a NASCAR race, I make a life-size Camry cake.
Really?
Yeah, delicious and made in America, just like the dang car. And with all Toyota's wins last year, it was life-size Camry Cake City. Oh, even lost a kid at one point. Tried to drive one of the cakes. Had to eat his way out of the drivetrain. Bless his heart.
Let's go NASCAR fans.
Toyota, let's go places. To learn more, visit ToyotaRacing.com. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc. Toyota vehicles and components are built using U.S. and globally sourced parts.
It's almost Busch o'clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy responsibly. Busch beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
This is Ashley Stremme.
And I'm Steve Post.
MRN's Wing Nation is hitting the road yet again to one of the country's premier dirt tracks, the Speed Palace, Port Royal Speedway.
Join Ashley and I for Weichert's Livestock Wing Nation on Saturday, May 27th and Sunday, May 28th during the Bob Weichert Memorial Race weekend at Port Royal Speedway.
We will be live behind the front stretch grandstands from 5 to 6 each afternoon, getting you ready for the Bob Weichert Memorial.
Join us live at the Speed Palace or listen on MRN.com or the MRN app.
Welcome back to the Inside Line. Here are your hosts, Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett.
As Robbie mentioned, busy day today on the Motor Racing Network. Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice coming up at 11:30 a.m., followed by final practice at 1:30 this afternoon, and then qualifying coming up at 6:30 p.m. So all three of those definitely going to help you set your fantasy lineup today by watching those three. Track position is going to be huge in tomorrow's GoBowling.com 400. Then tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, you can watch or listen to us on the Motor Racing Network, which you should be doing, but you can do both. The GoBowling.com 400 at Kansas Speedway. All right, Robbie, surprises leaving Talladega. What's your number one?
I think we both agree the first big surprise leaving Talladega is Roush Fenway Racing in Victory Lane. It had been 3 years almost since the last time they went Victory Lane with Carl Edwards at Sonoma in 2014. What that organization has gone through the last 3 years is probably been the lowest of lows of any organization that you could possibly think of in the history of the sport. When you think about it, Tyler, Roush Fenway, through the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and the Truck Series, they've won, over 300 races in their existence?
Yes. For
them not to win in the Cup Series for 3 years, I know that everybody over there at that organization, their office is right down the street from MRN's headquarters here in Concord, North Carolina. Every single person at that shop has been waiting for this, and they finally got it, and congratulations to those guys.
Well, and I think the most frustrating part for that team was that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. came into the Cup Series on fire, winning 2 Xfinity Series championships. He won in everything he was in. But the one thing that Jack Roush has always said, and most of the owners understand this, is that this sport goes up and it goes down.
Sure.
Joe Gibbs Racing was the best team in the Cup Series last year. They are now not the best team in the Cup Series. They have yet to win, and that's coming up on our surprises as well. So Roush Fenway Racing is definitely the number one surprise. My number two surprise is what I just said, Joe Gibbs Racing. 5 wins through 10 races last year. They now have 0 wins through 10 races this year. And Kyle Busch got close at Martinsville. He finished second to Brad Keselowski. He had a chance to win, Sunday's race and the Geico 500 at Talladega, but yet they're still winless. And the way they're running on 1.5-mile racetracks right now, I probably will say they won't win this weekend either. And so, you're going to have to look, even though Kyle Busch is great at Kansas and he's a defending winner of this race, Kyle Busch has yet to finish in the top 10 at a 1.5-mile racetrack this year, and that is kind of frustrating.
I think, Tyler, it's a situation where, we've talked about this on the show this year. The rules package that the Cup Series is going under right now, it's different than what we had last year. And if you go back to the races that we tried this out last year, Joe Gibbs wasn't the best. It was Team Penske who was the best, and Team Penske obviously is showing that. Would I be worried if I was Joe Gibbs Racing? Absolutely, because they haven't won yet. Is it panic time? I don't think so. There we go. So my second surprise is the intensity of Sunday's race. We've seen plate races in the last couple of years where you have periods where it's just madness out on the racetrack, 3-4 wide, and then it settles down. Sunday's race, it was like that all day long. It was 3-4 wide racing all day long. With the exception of maybe a couple of times during pit stops, it was chaos on Sunday. So that was my big surprise, is how chaotic Sunday's race was.
It was chaotic, but it didn't get chaotic towards the end of the race, because we didn't wreck at all until that last long red flag with Chase Elliott and AJ Allmendinger. But it definitely was intense racing. You mentioned it, 3 wide all the way around the racetrack. It was pretty fun to watch. My third surprise, and it kind of ties into everything we've been talking about. Right now, the parity in this sport is ridiculous. We have 8 different winners in 10 races, and last year we had 6 at this time. So we have 2 more than we had last year. Right now, we're on pace within 20 races to have 16 different winners. Now, will that happen? Probably not. But right now we have 8 different winners, with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Win at Talladega.
Well, when you look at those 8 different winners, and this ties into my number 3 surprise, Kevin Harvick still hasn't won yet. if you go back and look at the first 3 years he drove for Stewart-Haas Racing, in 2014, he had 2 wins in the first 10 races. In 2015, he had 2 wins in the first 10 races. Last year, he had 1 win in the first 10 races. This year, he has none. So when you start to look at the list of winners this year, so far we've had 8, and you start to think of, and we talked a little bit about the show, about this last week with Matt Dillner on the show, the number of winners that we could potentially have in 2017, I think we could get definitely 16. There's a chance we could get more than 16 before we get to Richmond. But Kevin Harvick not winning is a big surprise for me.
I would take the under. If we go to Vegas, I'd take the under on 16. I don't see 16 happening. But none of Joe Gibbs Racing has won. That's 4 cars right there that have a potential to win.
Exactly.
So you never know, I guess. All right, let's talk about must-starts before we head to the break. Who was your must-start this weekend at Kansas?
Kyle Busch.
Are you kidding me?
Kyle Busch.
Didn't you just hear the stat I said?
I know.
He has not finished in fact, his best finish at a mile-and-a-half racetrack this year is 15th at Texas.
But in his last 4 starts here at Kansas, going back to 2014 because he missed one in 2015, his last 4 races, 3rd, 5th, 1st, and 5th.
That's fine. But their mile-and-a-half program is not near what it was the past 4 races we've been to Kansas.
Well, I think Kyle Busch is a must-start this weekend.
All right.
I think he is a must-start because of his track record here, and also because I think he's mad because he still hasn't got to victory lane yet this year.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna push the envelope this weekend. They are going to find a way to get him to victory lane on Saturday
I look
night.
at 16th at Atlanta, 22nd at Las Vegas, and 15th at Texas and say, no way. I am starting Kyle Busch, and in fact, I'm not even going to start a Joe Gibbs Racing car.
Okay.
The number 1 start this week, and you probably have him second on your list, is Kyle Larson. You must start Kyle Larson at a mile-and-a-half racetrack right now. He's finished second at every mile-and-a-half racetrack we have been to this year, and I think he's a must-start. I think Joey Logano is a must-start.
I agree with you on Joey Logano.
He wrecked in this race last year, but in the spring of 2014, he won this race. He finished 15th 2 years ago, and he finished 5th 2 years ago and won in the spring. He has top 10s at all the mile-and-a-half racetracks this year. He has 2 top 5s. Jamie McMurray would be a good start. He has 3 top 10s. Brad Keselowski has 3 top 10s.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, he almost has 3 top 5s. He finished 1st, 5th, and 6th at mile-and-a-half racetracks this year. That's the numbers I look at, and specifically Texas. Texas was just repaved.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas was repaved what? How many years?
2012.
2012. So we're 5 years removed from that.
Yeah.
So it's recently repaved. I think out of the mile-and-a-half racetracks we've been to this year, I think that's the one you look at. And, of course, Jimmy Johnson won at Texas. So we'll see.
All right.
Who else do you like?
I like Chase Elliott this weekend. I also I'm going to look at Martin Truex Jr. because he led a ton of laps in this race last year, and he won at Las Vegas.
All right. So those are some of the must-starts. We'll have more picks throughout this show. Jeff Striegle from the Motor Racing Network is going to join us, the co-host, the co-anchor of Saturday's broadcast, which is tomorrow. Will join us next. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Citywide to countryside, whatever you drive, wherever you go. Hercules Tires has the value, selection, and industry-leading warranty to get you there, no matter where the road takes you. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
It's almost the most refreshing time of the day, Busch O'Clock, a time for relaxing and unwinding with friends and family over a crisp, cold Busch beer. Busch's roots are in racing, but whether you're enjoying the race or going fishing, nothing is better when it's time to relax with a crisp, cold Busch. It's Busch O'Clock, so grab a 6-pack of Busch beer for the cooler, start the grill, and relax. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch, Busch Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Online and on the air, MRN is live from the track on MRN.com and the MRN app. Check out all MRN race broadcasts, pole qualifying and practices, plus exclusive motorsports programming live on your computer or mobile device. Or go to MRN.com to find your local radio station's online stream. Don't miss a second of NASCAR racing action. Listen live online at MRN.com, the MRN app, or your local station.
Let's talk more fantasy racing on the Inside Line. Here's Robbie and Tyler.
Be sure to join our NASCAR.com Fantasy Live League. That's coming. You can join it whenever you'd like. 3,000 people are playing with us right now, and you can join whenever you want throughout the season. We kind of play weekly. There's a yearly tally, and currently we have the top 10. Someone in this office, who I'm not going to mention, is in the top 10 right now in our league. You can mention him if you want, because I'm not.
Why do you keep bringing it up?
Rich Culbreth is 7th in our league. We're paid to say that every time, just to mention that
we get a cut of it.
He's in the top 10 of the league. Anyways, and he's smiling through the door right now. He just ran over here from his office. All right, Jeff Striegle's joining us now on the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show. He's up in Michigan, and he's going to be in Kansas this weekend. Striegle, how are you?
I'm good. Robbie, Tyler, how are you?
We're doing great.
Doing absolutely great. We're ready to go to the Midwest, going to Kansas Speedway this weekend. Our first night race of the season, which normally we have a couple before we get to Kansas Speedway. Jeff, I like Kansas. It's a wide open, it's a fast racetrack, multiple grooves. Talk about what we should expect to see tomorrow night in the Go Bowling 400.
Well, I think you're going to see, I think we're going to see racing the way that we like to see it. And by that I mean, if the car's not working on the bottom of the racetrack, you guys just talked about it, there's a lot of opportunities there for drivers to find a sweet spot on that racetrack. It's a track that I really do enjoy going to. I mean, we just came out of Richmond after having a great race there. We just came out of Talladega, which, we can't make our picks based on what we saw at Talladega. So we got to get back to these 1.5 mile racetracks and find out who's going to be good. And I think it's going to be an interesting race when you're trying to figure out just exactly who's going to be strong there. I don't know that it's as easy as it has been in other years because of the way that we're seeing some of these teams either A, perform above expectations, and other teams that are performing, below maybe their expectations as we get to Kansas.
I totally agree with you. It is a challenge, and the biggest challenge this week is starting or not starting the guy who is the best at Kansas right now in the past 5 races, and that is Kyle Busch. And the reason why I am not starting him is because he has 0 top 10s at 1.5 mile racetracks this year. His best finish at a 1.5 mile racetrack is 15th. Would you start Kyle Busch and Joe Gibbs Racing, who has struggled at 1.5 mile racetracks this year, Striegle?
I would, Tyler. I don't. This is so difficult because, one part of me says I don't want to look at what history has done, and another part of me says you can't overlook what history has provided us. And when you take a look at what Kyle has accomplished at Kansas, you can't really overlook it. When, like you just pointed out, when you take a look at what he's done this year, you can't overlook it. But then again, that was yesterday. What are we going to do tomorrow? Kyle has to perform here soon. He's been on the verge. I don't think that you can overlook Kyle Busch. Yes. All right, that was a long answer. That was a yes or no question. I'm going to give you a yes. Yes, I would start him.
All right, that's a good answer.
All right, so Jeff, we've been to 3.5 mile racetracks this year. This is number 4. We've had Brad Keselowski in Victory Lane for 1. We've had Martin Truex in Victory Lane for 1. We've had Jimmy Johnson in Victory Lane for 1. Of those 3, who would be the must start out of that group on Saturday at Kansas?
Brad. I don't think we can overlook what Team Penske is doing week in and week out, and it doesn't matter what track we're on. I think that when I think you got to look at Joey and Brad. Joey's been phenomenal at Kansas, again, going back into the history book. If you take a look at what Joey's accomplished, if you take out the 38th place finish that he had there last spring, Joey has knocked down either wins or thirds or fourth place finishes. So you can't overlook him. Now, granted, you were talking about Brad coming off his 1.5 mile win. He's been good there as well. So, we can only start so many people, and I think that you have to look at going into the race who has been the team to beat. And the team to beat right now, in my opinion, is Team Penske. So I have to look at Joey, and I have to look at Brad as must-haves in my starting lineup.
I agree with you. I think Team Penske will be a great start this week, and Joey Logano is no stranger to Victory Lane at Kansas as well. He's won there twice. And I just mentioned Joey, and on MRN.com we have this grading system, and you and Bagley and Alex did it on NASCAR Live on Tuesday, and so I want to throw some questions out there for you and kind of put you on the spot, if you will. Joey Logano, you graded him an A, and you graded Jimmy Johnson a B+. Why is that? Jimmy has 2 wins this year.
Jimmy's got 2 wins, but Jimmy's been inconsistent. And like I said in that interview, you can't overlook 2 wins. 2 wins are big. But when I look at, trying to give somebody a grade for what we've seen so far through 10 races, I've seen 2 wins, but I've also seen a tremendous amount of inconsistency. And will he come out and just dominate the race? We know he's got that capability, but if he does, it will go against what we have seen so far this year, which has just been the inconsistency. The other side of that is Logano has been very consistent. Obviously, he was involved and didn't get the finish he was looking for at Talladega, but, Team Penske was rock solid there. Logano and Brad were both very good at Talladega, but let's take that out of the equation. You got to go back to Phoenix when he had the cut tire, another race that he was very good at. So that's what I'm looking at, is a driver that is in the top 10, in the top 5, winning races, and Joey's been able to do that. Now, granted, that Richmond race was encumbered finish and all of that, but week in, week out, that team has performed very, very well, unlike anybody else. So that's why he gets an A, and Jimmy right now gets a B.
Yeah, no question. In fantasy, if you get an unencumbered finish, you still get the win.
You still get the win. Jeff, one name on this list that on MRN.com that we missed was Kyle Larson. He finished second a bunch of times. He won at California, struggled at Talladega a little bit. I would give him an A+ for the season. Agree or disagree, and is he a good start this weekend at Kansas?
Well, I think I agree with you with the grade, but here's what I struggle with going into Kansas. When you take a look at what he's accomplished there, man, oh man, it's been a struggle. He does have a runner-up finish there, but you got to go back a ways to get it. What he's done there lately has not been very impressive. I do expect that he will run well there. If I had to choose between, let's say, a Brad and a Joey or a Kyle, which one would I start? Talking about Kyle Larson, I think I'd probably forego starting Kyle Larson this week, just, again, based on the history. But yet again, here we go again. Based on what he's done this season, how do you overlook him? But I think if it came push to shove and I had to make a decision between Joey, Brad, and Kyle Larson, I'd probably go with Joey or Brad over Kyle. And, that might be the great miss that I would have this week, because Kyle's very liable to go out there and run very well, and certainly is going to be a factor on Saturday night. But, you can only take so many drivers, and I'd probably not take Kyle this weekend.
Wow. Yeah, I was the opposite. In the last segment, I said you must start Kyle Larson this week because he has 3 second-place finishes at the 3.5-mile racetracks we've been to this year. All right, throw you on the spot here. This is the GoBowling.com 400, and we're going to Kansas Speedway. Who wins the race Saturday, Striegle? And who do you think goes to victory lane? Maybe is it a first-time winner, or do we see a repeat winner?
Well, I think that there's certainly a possibility that we're going to see a first-time winner this season, and obviously one of those guys that you have to consider might be Kevin Harvick. I also think that you can't look much further than Joe Gibbs for another opportunity for a first-time winner there, whether it be Kenseth, whether it be Kyle Busch, it could even be Denny Hamlin. But at the end of the day, the driver that I think is going to victory lane on Saturday night is Joey Logano.
All right. Joey Logano gets back to victory lane and maybe gets himself into the playoff. We'll bet a 6-pack of cold Busch beer on that. All right, Striegle.
You got it.
I don't think Logano wins, but that's a good pick. I think it's a solid pick.
Well, I appreciate you debating me on that. That's the problem, and Tyler, and you know it. There's a number of very, very good picks out there, and the reason is we have so many different winners already this season, and we have so many good drivers, great drivers, that have yet to go to victory lane. Nobody is dominating. That people like Stewart-Haas Racing are ready to break loose. You know that Joe Gibbs is ready to break loose. You can imagine that McMurray is chomping at the bit to get to victory lane, to join his teammate. And that goes with all of the drivers that have already won this year. So trying to figure out who is going to be a dominant car is getting more and more difficult because there's so much parity in this sport right now.
No question. Striegle, thanks so much for joining us. Have fun this weekend in Kansas, and we'll see you soon, all right?
You got it, buddy. Take care.
All right, thanks. Jeff Striegle, everyone, joining us. Some good insight on some good picks. Some that I agreed with, some that I didn't agree with, but that's exactly why we bring people on the show, so we can debate things, right?
Yep. I'm glad he liked my Kyle Busch pick.
I don't. Anyways, the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show rolls on. Under the Rock is coming up next. This is the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires.
Today Toyota's featured NASCAR fan is Dr. Tom Pierce.
So, Dr. Tom, what's your claim to fame?
Well, due to all of Toyota's NASCAR wins last year, I wrote thousands of doctor's notes for fans for overexcitement hypertension, a condition that requires a day off work to rest.
Sounds like a responsible doctor.
Doctor? I'm not a real doctor, bro. Would a doctor get a guy off work for overexcitement about the new Camry? Because I did.
Let's go NASCAR fans.
Toyota, let's go places. To learn more, visit toyotaracing.com. NASCAR is a registered trademark of the National Association for Stock Car Auto Racing, Inc.
It's almost Busch O'Clock. A time for relaxing and unwinding with a crisp, cold Busch beer. It's the most refreshing time of the day. Wait for it. 3, 2, 1. Busch. Crisp, cold Busch. Enjoy responsibly. Busch Beer. Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Hey race fans, visit Camping World in Concord for convenient one-stop shopping on outdoor accessories, top brand RVs, and quality service. Buy an RV and enroll in the Good Sam Elite loyalty program, offering incentives valued at over $2,000. Browse over 10,000 Camping World products and accessories in America's largest RV dealer network. Plus, shop the top manufacturers such as Coleman, Keystone, Newmar, Thor Motor Coach, Winnebago, and many more. America's #1 RV dealer has something for everyone. Visit Camping World in Concord today.
See dealer for full offer details and disclaimers.
We now return to the Inside Line with Robbie and Tyler.
Welcome back to the Inside Line Fantasy Racing Show presented by Hercules Tires. Getting ready for a big day of racing at the Kansas Speedway today here on the Motor Racing Network. I'm Robbie Mays. He is Tyler Burnett. Before we get to our favorite game of the week, the second annual Country 500 Music Festival is coming to the World Center of Racing Daytona International Speedway May 26th through the 28th. Daytona will become the World Center of Entertainment Memorial Day weekend, with performances by, listen to this lineup, Blake Shelton, Kid Rock, Miranda Lambert, I love her, Keith Urban, Brooks and Dunn, and a whole lot more. For more information and to buy your 1 or 3 day ticket passes, visit country500.com. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I've been ready.
Let's do it. Under Rock or Tyler?
Do you live your life up under a rock? Or are you Tyler Burnett?
I love that. Okay. Mother's Day weekend coming up.
Oh
weekend.
no.
This is a photograph of somebody who is known for being a famous mother, TV mother.
Okay.
You have to name the character's full name. Since you don't know actors' names.
The full name?
The character's first and last name. So Donald, Darryl, let's cue it up. Let's play Under Rock or Tyler. The full first and last name of this TV mom. Okay.
Well, I know it's the Brady Bunch.
That doesn't count.
Right. So, something Brady. Patricia Brady? Is that right? Rebecca Brady? What?
No.
What's her name?
Carol Brady.
Carol! Oh, Carol.
Throw it.
Oh, no. Carol Brady.
Good job, Craig.
What was her name? Her real name?
Henderson.
Oh yeah, I would have not got that. But I knew it was the Brady Bunch.
Yeah, well, but that wasn't what we were asking. We
All right,
needed the character's first and last name.
Rango.
All right, Rango. Let's go.
All right. Let's see how the chicken picks today.
Come on, Rango. Take your time, Rango. Come back. Come back.
I at least knew what the Brady Bunch was.
I'm actually surprised you knew that much.
What was the cleaning lady called? What was her name? Alice?
Alice. That wasn't what we were asking, though. All right, Rango's picks for Kansas are Brad Keselowski, Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, Danica Patrick, Cole Witt. His winner is Joey Logano, and his car manufacturer is Ford Motor Company.
I like the team there. I like the team. This is probably Danica Patrick's best racetrack.
Sure, yeah.
Top 20s throughout the last 5 races. Cole Witt has been quietly a very good $5 pick.
He has been, yeah.
This year, so that's good picks. All right, Robbie Mays, who wins?
Brad Keselowski.
We're going all Team Penske. So Striegle went Logano.
Mm-hmm.
Rango Fowler went Logano.
Mm-hmm.
And Robbie Mays went Brad Keselowski. Mm-hmm. I'm going to take Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex Jr. wins this weekend. He has a little bit of redemption from last year. He led 172 laps, mistake on pit road, and then he did not win the race. He finished 14th. So I'm taking Martin Truex Jr. to win the GoBowling.com 400. You're in Kansas, right?
I'm in Kansas. Looking forward to it.
What are you going to do? Be tweeting some pictures out and stuff?
Oh, probably a little bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And happy Mother's Day to everybody, all the mothers out there.
Yeah, I need to say happy
we couldn't be here without you. So thank you for your support and your love, and we appreciate it, mothers.
Yeah, I need to say happy Mother's Day to my mom.
Yeah.
Give her a shout out. She's probably the only one that watches.
My mom watches the show every week.
Well, anyways, happy Mother's Day to all of you guys.
Yeah.
All right, 6:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow is the GoBowling.com 400. Hopefully you join us for that on the Motor Racing Network. Coming up at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time is Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series practice. Thanks to our producer Daryl Smith, Donald Culver for running the graphics. We'll talk to you next week as we head to what? The All-Star race.
The All-Star race.
Here on the Inside Line.
You've been listening to the Inside Line, presented by Hercules Tires. Stream us every Friday on MRN.com or the MRN app. The Inside Line is also available on demand in the MRN.com Media Center, on our Facebook page, on YouTube, or download it through iTunes or Google Play. The Inside Line is a production of the Motor Racing Network.